Hello, I'm Walter from Super Abrasive. Today we're going to show you how to tension the Planetary belt. We're going to start by disassembling the machine and going through it. This is a 32S HV Lavina machine. We're going to take the machine apart, show you how to tension, and put it back together. All this is in the manual on page 18. We're going to go through the page with you, show you what tools to use, and show you how to tension the belt. We're going to show you the tools. The tools you're going to need is two 17mm wrenches, 13mm wrench, 10mm wrench, 13mm socket and extension, along with a 3/8 drive ratchet. Also a 5mm Allen wrench. Also, you're going to need a set of calipers to complete the tension. Also, like I mentioned before, on page 18 is how to step by step go through and put tension on the belt. Is remove the vacuum hoses, the water hoses, and disconnect the electrical cord from the control box. Pull the pins on the carriage on both sides and take it away. Around, loosen this vacuum. Pull both pins by removing the key on both sides. Come around and pull this pin out. Lay it down here. Come over here. And with somebody's help, they're going to hold the handle. Nick, you want to help assist with this? And we're going to pull the other pin. And then disconnect the power from right here. And take it away, Nick. Continuing on with the disassemble of the machine, what we're going to do first, you're going to need a 22mm and a 19mm wrench and a 5mm Allen. So you're going to take the Allen screws from the side of the motor frame out. 4 Allen screws right here, 2 here and 2 here. We'll take those out and pull this off. Then we're going to take, with the 19mm and the 22mm, take this front bolt out and also take the back bolt out and then slide the motor frame out. Now I'll show you what I explained previously about taking the Allen screws out of the frame. And pulling this hose off, pull this pin out, this pin out on this side, pull the motor frame off. Now we're going to remove the cover. In order to remove the cover, we have to take these 6 Allen screws out all the way around and lift the cover up. Now it's tricky to maneuver around the electrical box, so we have to maneuver around this box. So that's the next step. In removing the cover, we're going to need George's help, so he's going to assist us with this. I would put the cord up here so that it was not out of the way, and then we're going to lift the cover off. And as I said, it's hard to maneuver around that box, and it takes 2 people. After removing the cover, you see the Planetary belt right here. You're going to need these 2 17mm wrenches to loosen this jam nut and loosen this nut off. Then you're going to need a 13mm to loosen this bolt and this bolt so that this slide will go forward and loosen tension on the belt. The first thing to do, like I said before, to loosen these 2 bolts to where the slide will slide, take the jam nut loose, and then start releasing the tension on the slide. Once you get the tension loosened on the slide, you'll see the belt starting to loosen up. Then you can get the wrench off and start turning it by hand. Slide the thread forward and then pull the belt off. After removing the 2 bolts that hold the slide down, you can take the slide and remove it. And it's easy to do because you got a notch cut right here to pull this adjusting rod out. And then you're going to lay the pulleys on the ground and then pull the belt off. For each time that you tension this belt, you need to pull it off so you can make 2 new marks on it and treat it like it's a new belt going on. So you need to make your 2 new marks on it so that you can do your tension to 10.2 centimeter. So your marks are going to be 10 centimeters apart, but when you tighten it, it will be 10.2. Make sure when you're before you put your new marks on the belt, the old marks, you put an X on each mark before you put your new one on. Then you put your new mark at 10 centimeters. That way, when you're rotating the belt around, once you install it, you know that you're going to be able to get your new marks and work with your new marks instead of the old marks, because the old marks is going to be stretched. I'm going to show you how to tension the belt, whether it's a new belt or an old belt. It's the same procedure to tension a new belt versus an old belt that's been on your machine squealing. You have to make 2 marks 10 centimeters apart with a caliper, and it's going to show you the measurement right there. So you make your 2 marks, which I already have made it on the belt, and then when you put the belt on, it's going to be 10.2 centimeters is what you're going to stretch the belt to. And like I said, there again, whether it's a new belt you're replacing after breaking a belt, or it's the old belt that you want to tension it up and get the correct tension for it. It's the same procedure for both belts. And installing the belt back, you're going to slide the belt around the machine, take your adjustment pulleys, set them into place, guide the belt around the pulleys and back around the drive pulley, put your 2 bolts back in, the 2 bolts back in the side assembly, the slide assembly, and tension the belt. While assembling the slide pulleys, the tension pulleys, you need to make sure you get the belt in between here, in between the 2 pulleys, before you set this into place, because if you don't, you're never going to get this belt in there. There's no way for it to fit. See, it won't fit. So you got to make sure you stick it in there first, because it's going to come around like this. Make sure you put the adjustment rod on before you slide this into place, because if you don't get the adjustment rod set into place, it's not going to be able to fit. Then you're going to put your 2 bolts on. Next step is before you put tension on the belt, make sure the belt is up under here real good, all the way around. Feel it and pull it up. Make sure that the belt is evenly on all the pulleys. Then you're going to come over here with a 13 millimeter and snug these 2 bolts down. Because if you don't snug these 2 bolts down, what's going to happen is this slides on a groove and it can come out of the groove. But you don't want to tighten them, because if you tighten them, you won't be able to put tension on it. Then you're going to tighten by hand the adjustment rod. Then you're going to start putting tension on it and making sure everything's into place when you start pulling tension. The next thing you're going to do after you get a little bit of tension on it is make sure you got your 2 marks right here where that you can take your caliper and put there and see where it's going to be 10.2 centimeter. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to tension on the belt a little bit, just to snug. You're not going to tighten the belt, just snug it down to where you can push on it and feel it just a little bit snug. The purpose in this is this pulley and this pulley is crowned. That means it's got a bubble in the middle, and this belt has to travel on these pulleys in order for it to settle into place. The next move we're going to do is we're going to rotate this head around till our mark comes back around again. One time, two times. We'll rotate this head around 2 times. The second time our mark comes around is when we're going to start pulling tension on the belt. As you can see, we've pulled the tension on the belt, the 10.2 on the caliper. I got a little bit more I can pull it, so I'll pull it just a little bit more, and the marks are right on time. The purpose in that was is this head is real hard and stiff to turn with the belt tight. That's the reason why you turn it with it loose, so it's easier to turn where the pulleys can settle into place, and now you can't turn it. Okay, after putting tension on the belt, getting the 10.2, you're going to take your 2 17mm wrenches and you're going to lock this jam nut down to where this tensioner cannot move. Okay, and the next thing you're going to do is take your 13mm and tighten these bolts. It shouldn't take much because you've already snugged them down. Okay, the next step is to start putting everything back. Now, the first thing to put back is the cover. You're going to be doing everything in reverse from what you've done in the beginning. The first thing to do is put the motor frame on after the cover. The next thing to do is put the carriage on.